Welcome, and it's our live for this week, and we're talking about, I guess this is the way it just has to be.
Yep.
Quite often we just resign ourselves to that, don't we? We find ourselves in a situation and we just figure, well, that's just the way it has to be.
Yeah.
We don't see a way out.
Undesirable situations, and it can be situations as well, whether it's in a job that is undesirable, whether it's a relationship, a financial situation. So any of the key areas in life, this is a universal thing we want to talk about tonight, and some considerations for when you find yourself in this sort of scenario. And we all do from time to time. We find ourselves sort of feeling stuck, where we think there's no options because I'm committed. You know, I've got financial commitments, I've got a family, I've got bills and all this sort of thing with regard to work, or I'm committed in a relationship because of X, Y, Z.
Or I often hear, oh, but I trained in that area, or I studied so much in that, so I can't really give it up. I have to stick to that because there's a lot of time and money and investment that went into it. My family's used to me earning that sort of money, and therefore I can't change it. I've got to stay where I am.
And also, that forms part of my identity now, so I don't
absolutely
want to change it.
And just on that, when you meet someone, what's one of the first questions you ask them?
What do you do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why do we ask that? I mean, it's interesting. I guess it gets a conversation started, but there's so much investment in our career, our vocation, that it becomes a major part of our identity.
Yeah. I'm so-and-so, and this is what I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, to give you an example of what we're talking about, if you thought of being in a situation where you're in a role or a job where that you just you've decided is completely unfulfilling and soul destroying, and you know I've been
That's
doing
pretty strong language.
Yeah,
but people use it, I guess.
Because you're not feeling properly stuck until you're starting to feel sort of properly stuck. And this sort of language reflects that sort of thing. You know?
I suppose if you're comfortable and you can live with it for a while, so you don't really talk to yourself like that. But once you're uncomfortable, then it starts to, the roof caves in.
Yeah, so you might have been comfortable, but still not thinking this is really for me for the last 10 years. You've been in the thing for 15 years, and all of a sudden something happens and it's like, now I'm stuck.
Yeah, I've had enough of this.
This is a soul-destroying position, blah, blah, blah. So there's a couple of things we want to look at. We want to talk about structures, and structures meaning what we do in relation to creating change in our lives with regard to these undesirable situations we find ourselves in. And really, we're used to being in a structure that is, and you'll explain structures probably in a minute, but because you're probably thinking structure, you know, but a structure where it's a tick-tocking structure. It's a structure where when we find X, Y, Z happens, we do these things, you know, so we react in a certain way, and we'll say we want to lose weight or whatever, we go to the gym, we work hard, we really pump it for a while, we lose some weight, and all the while we're doing that, we're still within this structure where there's tension building, and then we lose the weight, and then it snaps us back to where we were, or even further back to, than when we started trying to lose the weight.
Yeah, because you can imagine how much weight that Craig's lost over the years.
Heaps of it. So anyway,
but it's right. Yeah, that's exactly right. It's interesting how we get to what we perceive we want, but if we don't have the right structure to get there, that tension builds so much. It snaps you back to where you started from, basically. So
So we want to move out of that structure in order to create sustainable change. It's going to stick around. It's not going to kind of be a change that's going to have a snap back to as bad as things were before, bad being a poor word, or even worse off, than before.
And then it can also be disguised a lot too. So let's say, for example, in a job, so you go, I don't really like this job, I'm sick of this shitty job, and then you build the tension and you find a new job and you work towards it. Like, I've got the new job. But if you haven't actually changed what happens on the inside, it's not too long before that new job, so new people, new environment, new uniform, whatever, all of a sudden, you find, the same thought patterns are coming up again, because all you did was just change the skin. You changed the desktop picture and everything underneath is still the same. So that's why we keep doing these cycles. Same with a relationship. You start at one point, not happy in something with the relationship, so you call that relationship off, and then you get another partner and it's all bright and sunny and the romance is amazing and all this sort of stuff. But again, because we haven't changed the inner works, we end up finding, oh man, he's just as bad as the last one. In fact, it's probably even worse, but because we haven't done the internal work. What's the common denominator?
It's you.
Yeah, absolutely. Or me.
Or me,
you.
or
yeah,
whatever
it is.
And the thing is, with that structure, that all you can really achieve is you either stay stuck where you are because you buy into the story that that's the end of that and that's the way it is, or you say, bugger this, I'm going to create change, and you
reskin
what you just said.
Yeah.
Reskin the
Give
same
it a reskin,
thing.
same thing.
And
just pretty it up.
Rerun the same stories.
What do they say? You can roll a turd in glitter, but you can't make it shine or something. Another one of my great quotes. You can take all of these out of the videos and make a fantastic video of Linda's quotables.
I've got some editing to do. All right, so we digress. The point is that we want to move into the creative structure, and in order to do that, we need to start seeing things differently. We need to have a look at our fundamental underlying belief systems and really start to break things up there to what we've become addicted to and stuck on knowing is true. Not necessarily is it true. So
we just need to start questioning our beliefs and our thought patterns. Now that's one end of the equation, but the other thing is that when we feel a pent-up tension around something, again, whether it's a job or a relationship or losing weight, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. We instantly, as humans, go about trying to resolve that tension, and we do it in various ways. Now, it could be, yoo-hoo, I've got the new job, or yoo-hoo, I've got the new man, woman, whatever, or I've lost 10 kilos or whatever, woo-hoo. Or it could be something as simple as I'll deal with it tomorrow, I'll go watch television. But all of those things are just resolving some tension. Now, we can actually decide what we'd really like. And it's really interesting because most people, when you first ask them, what would you really love in life? Do you know what the first few words you hear are? What I don't want is, they all know, and this one probably includes you, you're probably very aware of what you don't want. But when you think about it, I have no clue of what you do want. That's a key number one, because we're not being clear enough. We know, say for example, if we want to go on holiday, we know, I want to go to Fiji because I want the sun, or I want to go to Thredbo because I want the snow. You know, we have a bit of a vision of what we want. Then we pick our destination and we know exactly what we're going for. But then there's the rest of your life. You know, if you're the average Aussie getting 4 weeks of holiday a year, there's a lot of weeks that you're not actually even accounting for, that you haven't decided what you really would love. So we need to take that step first, and then once you've decided what that is, you use the tension, your current position, your current relationship, anything that you can to actually use those creative forces with that tension to bring that about.
Yeah.
And the more the tension, the faster it can happen.
Yeah. So, and the way we can start to do that is we can look at our job differently. That what we're currently, because we're just working with that concept of the position that's undesirable. So what's currently happening for you to arrive at it's soul destroying, it's unfulfilling, it's everything along those lines. We're looking at only one part of a spectrum of what that role is to you, because that role is in fact everything from horrible through to brilliant for you, and everything in between. So whatever story you're telling yourself or you're choosing to buy into, and consequently swing your focus and your attention and your power to, is one section of a full story. So we're buying into, we're attached to just one bit. Now, the beauty of this is that you can bring your attention and your focus to anywhere you want on that spectrum. right up to the other end, or you can come to the middle and find a middle ground or whatever. But that's your choice. You have that power, which is really powerful, because where you hold your focus, this creates your reality. So for the time being, the most powerful thing you can do in that role that you're currently in is start to recognize the way that role serves you. And you want to choose you want to choose something to focus on that serves you. So you're currently focusing in a way that does not serve you, and it renders you powerless. So shift that focus. That's your work toward creating change. And once you do that, you may need to do it many times throughout any given day. That's fine, but really keep working at that while you're in your role. Don't chuck the role in. You don't want another of the same.
No.
You want some real change in your life. And so stay where you are until you get the real change.
Yeah.
You might
earn your way up into something amazing instead of just copying yourself out into something the same, pretty much. Yeah. Can I give a suggestion of a really good tool I find for this?
Yeah.
So if I find I'm getting really down on myself about something that I've got to do, first of all, I try and start to change the language. And initially it's really hard, so that's why I said try to, because initially you've got to get a little bit of momentum to overcome the inertia of feeling, oh, I'm stuck here. So you change the language from I've got to go to work, or I've got to be nice to my spouse, or I've got to do such and such. Change that to I get to. And instantly you'll feel a lightness sort of come about it. Now, it might take you a while to convince yourself that I get to go to work. Sounds like a good thing. But once we do the next part of the exercise, it actually starts to ease you into it a little bit more. So that is when you're really down on yourself about something that you're not happy about being in, but you feel like you're stuck there, then write a list of 200 benefits to that. So, and I know that sounds like a lot, but you've actually got to get the brain to really think and dig deep all the benefits. Because if it's about your job, the first thing will be it pays the bills, and then it'll be blah, blah, blah. But if you have to search for 200 benefits, you'll dig really deep and you'll actually find some really cool things that you weren't even thinking was part of the equation, because you've denied that whole side of the equation. And as we know, everything is dualistic. We've got the negative and the positive. So I give the quotes for perceived negative and the perceived positive. But on every situation, no matter what it is, there is an equal amount of everything.
Of opposite.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we're down, we need to bring ourselves up. Now, conversely, you could be the other way. You could have a job that you absolutely love and you run around or a relationship, that's probably more likely, where you're absolutely running around amazed with this relationship and this person and how beautiful they are and all this sort of stuff. A good thing to do would actually start to compile a list. You won't want to do this, but you want to compile a list of a few hundred things, maybe a couple of hundred things, where maybe they're not, the epitome of everything. Because otherwise you'll stay in a role of being infatuated with your job or infatuated with the other person. And infatuation is not love. It's very, very different. Love sees both sides and chooses that anyway. Does that make sense?
Sees, the positives and the negatives in things, in anything. And when you see the positive and the negative, not just one or the other, you bring yourself back to the midpoint. And when you do that, you place yourself in a position of true love, true gratitude, and true appreciation.
And even if it's just a calm centeredness that you get to, which is also possible sometimes, especially when we're on the fly, that's perfect too, because then you're more responsive, less reactive, and you can appreciate and see everything around you rather than, this is all shitty, don't see the good side, that sort of thing. So you look around, you'll be amazed. And if you don't even think you've got anything going on, pick something that sort of rubs you a little bit the wrong way. You say, I really wish I didn't have to do X, Y, Z. Pick that and play with it and see how you feel after doing it.
Like writing that list of 200 things is either a positive or a negative list. And the reason is, if you're too far one way, positive, or too far the other way, negative, you're always working at bringing yourself back to the midpoint. And so the midpoint is where you want to sort of stay.
Thanks, D.
Thanks,
yes,
D.
we know.
Yes,
the doorbell is barking.
And so in relation to the job, the reason why we want to swing our focus onto the not to the positive, but we want to more centered. We want to give it a more rounded and true appreciation of what's really going on and how it's really serving you at the moment. And that's more because you're already negative, so you can afford to go a bit positive on it, and that will bring you back to the middle. It'll even it out. Now, the reason why you want to do that is because when you find that middle ground and you find that true gratitude, then that shifts your vibration. We're vibrational beings, and so when we shift our vibration to a higher level, what it does is it aligns us with what we'd love in our life. Now, the reason why Linda was saying it's super important for you to know what it is you would love is that when...
So we've got part 2. We were just talking about raising the level of the vibration, and Craig was just about to tell us why that's really important to know what we want.
Yeah, so that's right. We'd raise the level of our vibration by choosing what we're going to choose to put our focus on and bring things back to the midpoint rather than all negative or all positive. When we do it, we raise the vibration. We're vibrational beings, so up comes the vibration. And as Linda was saying, it's super important that we know with great clarity what it is we'd love in our lives, because then once we raise the vibration, we put ourselves in alignment vibrationally with what we'd love, because it's what we'd love. So it's a high vibrational thing, and we allow that to come into our lives. At the very least, we allow that shift to occur within us. So what we're doing here, primarily the biggest change and sustainable change that we're creating, is inside ourselves, where we come to know true gratitude for what's going on in our lives. And it's no small thing, it's massive. But what often happens is, so you could find yourself staying in that job but feeling bloody good about it in every way. Who's complaining about that? That's beautiful change. But what can also happen is that because you've raised your vibration and you've got clarity on what it is you'd love, your outer world reflects back to you that change that's happened within you in the form of maybe a new role, something that just blows you away, and it's usually better than what you had in mind.
Absolutely. That openness, that's the best word I can find for that feeling of when you're just open and centered, and life just unfolds. These things just happen, and coincidences happen. The number of times that we've had these sorts of things unfold for us, it's been incredible. And it's just worth exploring what happens when you just learn to be present and to love what is. It is an incredible situation. And we're not talking about, when we're talking about know what you love, I'm not really a big fan of vision boards. I know you're not either. Because we have a vision board, okay, that does help us to define what we want, but you don't want to be staring at it every day and going, oh, there's a house, there's a boat, there's a holiday, there's a this, there's a that, there's a pretty body, there's a this, all these sorts of things. Because first of all, it's not specific enough to you. And second of all, when you see something on that vision board, what are you telling yourself? I don't have that thing, so it's the opposite end of the stick. So we create what we love in a different way using the Unstuck and Unstoppable program. So we make sure, though, that you do know what you want and then how to go about that from that point forward. Yeah.
Big time. And so in the Unstuck and Unstoppable program, we dig right into this, and that's very true. However, what we've said tonight, if you run with this and you really commit to it, you'll create massive change in your life, and your degree of happiness that you're experiencing in your life. So
you don't have to put happiness off until you retire or XYZ happens. We put too many conditions on our lives. Oh, I won't be happy unless I get to my next holiday. Or it's the weekend, I can be happy now. Why can't you be happy on Monday morning? You can. Any day of the week.
Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So the same applies for relationships, financial situations, careers, you name it. It's all about your focus and the reason behind why it's so important to place your focus in a position that raises your vibration. And that position is not all the way positive or all the way negative. It's in the middle. It's about finding true gratitude.
Absolutely. There's something else I had to mention. What did I mention before we were rudely interrupted by the broadcast? Can't remember.
I don't know if we got chopped off before saying also it's not about bullshitting yourself that you are grateful. You know, I am grateful, so can you please get me the hell out of here if anybody's listening.
That's called conditional gratitude, and it doesn't work, just so you know. We're grateful because we are genuinely grateful, not because if I be grateful, then I will get X, Y, Z. That's not true gratitude. So we want to make sure that you know the difference between true gratitude and conditional gratitude. Same with love. True love and conditional love. Conditional love, yeah.
It's not even love, really. If it's got conditions.
Yes. No, it's horse trading.
Yeah.
That's for another day.
Yes.
Hey, have you got a horse?
No, but...
oh, damn it. I can't horse trade with you tonight.
Good.
You clown. Oh, so don't forget, if you've got any friends that you think would benefit from the Unstuck and Unstoppable group, please invite them along because they're waiting for you. They don't even know this group exists. You guys are only here because somebody else invited you. We'd love to be able to help them out as well. Even share the video to them if you like. I'm not quite sure how you do that from a secret group, but I'll work it out.
Part 1 and part 2.
Oh, yeah, well, yes. We will have a melded version. You can send them to the link on YouTube.
Yeah.
And we have our retreats coming up in October. Don't forget, 14th to 17th of October here in the Gold Coast hinterland. It's going to be fabulous. It's going to be better than fabulous. There's a better word. It'll be spectacular.
Yeah.
You'll be amazed how much change you will make in 4 days. And
the power of immersion.
Yeah, immersion. Getting in there, getting your hands dirty in your workbook, talking it out, seeing how it impacts other people's lives as well as your own. You will be incredibly amazed. It's not confronting in any way. You participate to your level, and I can guarantee you everybody who attends gets something out of it. So we look forward to seeing you there. We do have a YouTube channel, You and You Retreats, and you've already got the Facebook group. What else?
So You and You Retreats. Yeah, the little squiggly N, not the AND.
And as you probably saw in the group earlier on the week, there's a sneak peek. We have an online program coming soon. Now, it's not as good as the immersion, but if you can't get to retreat, it's a good way to get started. The immersion, you know, when you're in it for 4 days non-stop, you will have change, guaranteed. You will in the online program as well. You'll have whole new perspectives and everything. Yeah. You just do it bit by bit over a 12-week period, though. You know,
it'll be brilliant.